at FlossTube. My name is Shelly, and this is my cross stitch channel, Oh My Ada. Today I am filming FlossTube 11. I'm so excited to be here, and I'm so excited that you are tuned in to see my program. If you're new, thank you. If you are returning, I appreciate you as well. There is in the bottom corner over here a button, and you can click that to subscribe. Also, you'll find in my notes, Oh My Ada was taken on Instagram. So if you want to check me out on Instagram, my name is Shelly70s, and I'll link that below as well because I do put a lot of my projects on Instagram just as updates. Now, I'm not going to apologize for what I'm saying, um, but I do know that many of you come here to relax, to enjoy, and to escape what's going on. But I do have to unapologetically state that I support Black Lives Matter. And um, if you're not willing to be open to a discussion, and it's not here, it could be anywhere. If you're not willing to even discuss the idea, then my channel might not be for you. Even though I talk about cross stitch, I I'm an educator, and I have enjoyed 50 years of white privilege. It's not my fault. I didn't do anything to earn it. That's what makes it privilege. But at the same time, when my close friends have to worry about sending their child to the store or exercising and taking a run, being pulled over for driving black, these things do happen, and it needs to be addressed. So, definitely pro Black Lives Matter. And I try to teach that to the students that I meet each year as well. And we talk a little bit about the history. I'm not going into that here. I just want you to get a feel for who I am as an individual. All right. So, that being said, um, I do want to talk a little bit about Mania because I haven't recorded since April. I want to talk about what I've stitched in June, and I have lots of haul, of course. I love shopping, and one of the ways that I was able to get through both of my quarantines was through online shopping. I definitely want to get out of the house and get a haircut. I have so many split ends. It's not funny. The gray hair I have doesn't bother me at all, although I do notice more up through here now. Um, I may even go red because I I visualize myself as a redhead more than my natural color here. More than that, I love a pedicure. So, what can I say? I like what I like. Now, I've been quarantined twice for 2 weeks where I haven't left the house for anything, and stitching has gotten me through it. Um, and then the rest of the time, even though I've been able to leave the house, I haven't wanted to. I'll go to the grocery store once in a while or once every other week. And then there were a couple of weeks where depression hit me really hard. And I'll talk about that a little bit because, again, I know you're here for the cross stitch. So, with that being said, I really want to dig into what I did for Mania. My goal this year, well, this is my first Mania. Last year, I started stitching June 1st, but I was watching FlossTube and I saw all the different Mania projects and videos last year. I thought I would never be able to do that. This year, because of COVID-19, I was at home for the last 10 weeks of the school year, and I had plenty of time to stitch. So these are the projects that I wanted to finish for Mania. And so I think I was doing more of a Sania project. And the first project and first Sal that I joined was Tranquil Stitches, Cheryl, and she had a no drama club. Sal, you can see this here. If you would like this pattern, I'm sure she'll still give it to you. My goal was to finish it. I'm happy with where I ended. Um, and the reason that I didn't finish it is because I wasn't able to get the thread that I needed, which is a DMC satin. So now that I can actually go to the store and pick it out, I'll get that satin and I'll have it finished before I make another FlossTube video. You can hear my throat getting raspy really quickly. Um, the biggest reason for that is I had throat surgery 10 years ago and the doctor bungled it. And so a lot of times this is as good as it gets, but I feel a tickle in my throat. All right. I did have a Mill Hill kit. And there is a glare, but there we go. Um, I love this kit. I love beading. In fact, when I gave up stitching the first time in the 90s, or the only time in the 90s, it was to make beaded jewelry. And so I have thousands of beads in my stash. And so I not only made one, but I made two of these. Of course, you can tell that they're not fully finished, and that will be my goal. I apologize because no matter how hard I try, I still can't get my position straight on here. I did see someone in the Mill Hill um, Facebook group where they used beads to make the loop, and I'm definitely going to do that. And so that is, and for all intents and purposes, my first and second finish ever. Well, not ever, but since a year ago, because um, I can't count No Drama Club, of course, because I'm out of the satin floss. All right. This pattern that I'm going to show you is a Sue Hillis design, and it is Pirates Love Christmas. I did this. Let's see if you can. It's a little difficult to read, but I think you get it, especially with the pirate and the Santa hat. The lettering should have been in black, but it didn't go with the Misty cashel linen that I'm using. This is on 28 count, and I stitched it 2/1. I probably wouldn't do this again as a 2/1, but it is what it is. I may, or I'm definitely going to restitch it for myself, 2/2, and we'll see how that works. Um, I don't, I think 2/2 would be fine. I don't think I have to do 1/2. All right. So I have another finish, and this is on 25 count dark chocolate. And this is a just cross stitch pattern, November 2015. Baby, it's cold outside. And I made this, I'm this, okay. I made this for my mother. Um, And you can see I stitch with a hoop. And looking at this pattern, I'll move it in a little bit more. I really liked seeing it in the hoop. So I'm probably going to finish it by putting it in a hoop. And then this will go to my mother. The only change I made is in the lettering for Baby It's Cold Outside. And instead of using the called for color, I used E5200, which is a beast to work with. And I don't know if you were able to tell, but there it did. I was tugging, and the fabric tore, and I was able to stitch it back together with a similar color, and then I made the line all the way across the bottom to sort of hide that. So I finished the fill in, um, and so all that was left for me to work on were the French knots. And I just looked at a YouTube video where most of us go to find what we need. And as I watched it, I just started practicing on the pattern itself. Um, the French knots represent chocolate sprinkles. And what I realized is that chocolate sprinkles are not uniform, so it doesn't matter if I mess up at all. And the French knots went by really quickly. So I think some of them are colonial knots and some of them are French knots. I don't know the difference between the two, but I was able to do both. Those were my finishes, and that's what I wanted to complete for Mania. And then I knew that that wouldn't take me the entire time. And what I decided to do after that was to catch up on the linens and threads, family and friends sampler for 2020. This is on um, 32 count Tyco. I think I have it correctly. 32 count Tyco, and it's 1/1. And I really like the coverage on 1/1. But what I did for a little variation, both of the urns for the flowers, I stitched 2/1. The top one up here was so simple to stitch. This one, I was ready to throw the whole thing away. This motif took me in 2 weeks. And by the end of the 2 weeks, I was tearing it out. I was miserable with it. And for me, I wanted to finish it and then put it away because if I stop in a spot because I'm miserable, the problem is I may not go back and finish it. So I did want to do that. If you've seen the linens and threads sampler, linens and threads, yeah, it's a sampler, Quaker sampler. The June will go right here. I'm looking forward to stitching, if I can get my finger to move in the correct direction. I'm looking forward to finishing that. And I may even do it before I come up here and stitch May. This is um, this is my next whip to work on. So even though I'm still talking about Stitch Mania, my plan is to stitch this next. All right, then I still had time. And the reason I had time is my plan was, as several people, I was going to have projects to finish during the week and new starts on the weekend. And there are two new starts that I really wanted to get going. The first one is a freebie, and it's by Dheby Art. This is a Portuguese designer. She does her stitching in anchor, as you can see over the grid, or oh yeah, over the colors. But I thought that this cupcake and the colors in it were just beautiful, and I wanted to stitch this. Unfortunately, I didn't have any of the colors, and I just went to a website that has a website where they switch um, DMC to Anchor or Anchor to DMC. And I did that and I was able to figure out what colors I would need. The way I package um, my stash is I put them in this binder sleeve. There are 3-hole punches. I put the pattern in it. Any floss or anything that I need goes on here. And I need 1 thread. And then as the threads come in, I just put the thread in the package. If you like this pattern, I'm going to link Dheby Arts. Um, I think I already said she is a Portuguese designer in Portugal, and it's www.dhebyart.com.br. And you will have to look for quite a while in her blogs. I can tell you right now, if you give me a second. Um, right before I filmed this, I went onto her website and I was looking. The If you go through her blog, you have to go all the way back to October 21st, 2015 for that pattern. But as I did that, I found so many other free patterns that I wanted to stitch. And so now I have about 10 more small, cute patterns. A lot of her patterns are, I don't want to say childish because they're not, but they're more for a child perspective. Um, I don't think I'm explaining that correctly, but one that I downloaded was Face of Strawberry Shortcake. If you grew up in the 70s, you may remember the Flintstones. There's one of not Bam Bam, Pebbles crawling. Um, one of a series of patterns that I liked is she had Disney princesses, and it looks like they're in wheelchairs. And I thought, what a great message that you don't have to walk on 2 feet to be a princess. There were a few free Marvel patterns that she had put together, and there's one that I thought was adorable of a banana, and it's being peeled, so the banana actually looks like it's suited up and it's wearing sunglasses. So I would really encourage you to take a look at her website. But again, you can translate it. It's not that big of a deal. And then she suggests clicking on the picture that you're interested in so that you can see it in a larger size and save it that way. But I couldn't do the cupcake because I didn't have the floss. The other project that I wanted to start is All Dolled Up by Little House Needleworks. And I just fell in love with this. It's the red house, it's the snowflakes. And again, I couldn't get the floss. And when I looked at the smalls that I had, nothing really spoke to me. I did kit this up, but I decided to kit it up in DMC instead of it is all DMC, but there is a Bing Cherry Classic Color Works. And I haven't been able to find someone that has Classic Color Works yet. but I will get there. There are a couple patterns that I have that need the classic Colorworks Bing's Cherry. And then I knew I would have time, and I did my 8th block of um, this is Coffee Break by Design Works, and this is on 25 count Lugana. It's basic white, and I did this box right down here, and you can see the needle still in it because I was working on the border and catching the border up. This, I, I just love these three at the top that I'm fully finished. And like many of my projects, I like to finish the stitching and leave the color or the single color, and I can go back and do that on a day where I'm exhausted or tired. I do have a hashtag for this because it was my birthday sale that started October 1st. And if you're interested in looking at that, you can, what can you do? You can use the hashtag Java365 SAL, and you can see my update. And then Mary T. Clark Clump had is doing it, and a few other people have joined in. So um, there aren't a lot of followers to it, but I like seeing the work. So if you're working on anything coffee, really it would fit there, and I'd love to see your coffee work. All right, about May 29th, I want to say, our stores opened up in California for curbside pickup. I was on my computer that morning ordering the DMC. And that's why the two patterns I wanted to work on now have the DMC. And it was kind of like, well, I can't work on them, so I'm not going to work on any new start because I have a lot that are kitted up in my stash. But now those two are ready to go. And I finally had a new start during Mania once I finished all of those projects that I just showed you. And my new start was um, Harry Potter book cover collage. And this is by Fox and Teacup Design. I've been following Erin, the Two Martini Stitcher, on this, and I thought, wow, I really love this, but I don't want it for myself. So I'm probably not going to stitch it. Well, I binge watched all 8 movies during the quarantine, and my friends, well, my family, they're close enough to be family. Um, I was posting stuff on a family chat, and I asked people just, hey, do you happen to know the title of the third Harry Potter movie? And a few different people answered, and we were all wrong, myself included. I wasn't trying to, make them feel dumb or anything, but my godson knew all the titles for all of the 7 books. And he was born in 1988, the year I graduated high school. And, he's always had a special place in my heart. But when I realized, wow, I must have watched Aaron and thought about that at the, around the same time. And I'm like, I'm going to make that for my godson. I don't know how long it'll take me to get done. It doesn't matter. He does not know that I'm making it for him. So it's going to be a surprise. But I've been sharing my updated pictures with his mother, and she's my best friend. So I spent from the 29th until today I spent 12 days monogamously stitching on this. I am using the gridded fabric because um, it's suggested, and I thought it's full coverage. Why not? I can't. I think I'm doing a mini. I apologize. I'm so happy with the way it looks, and I can't get it. There we go. I'm so happy with the way it looks. Um, for me, I like leaving huge blocks of color, like I mentioned earlier. Then I can go back and stitch um, when I'm tired or when I don't want to count. Um, but I absolutely love how it's coming out. For me, now I kind of want to keep it, but I'm not going to. This is going to go into timeout, not for a long time, um, maybe a week or two. I want to keep the momentum going on this because um, I absolutely love stitching on it. And then I do hear a lot of people asking how they organize their floss. These are just photo boxes you can get at Michael's or craft stores. I blow up the pattern. In this instance, it's on the top, but I keep my needles that break or needles I want to throw away in this pill box, a bottle. And then when I go to the doctor's or I go to Kaiser, I take it with me and I empty it into a sharp container. But within this box are zip top bags. These are the snack size. And I've put a card inside of each one to keep it standing up. And on the top, I've written a number. And I put all of the floss on these. These are like keychain tags. And get it the right way for you. I wow, Shelly, not a great job. I do like writing the number and the symbol. Now, here's my question for you. These are really tiny pieces of paper that go inside. I can reuse these for the same color of floss, not a big deal. I can put white out over the symbol. But what would you recommend as a replacement if I wanted to use a real strip, a new strip of paper without doing a lot of effort? I can't imagine I would want to make 500 of those and cut them all out, but I might. Um, and then I like the Harry Potter book covers because there's just enough balance between confetti stitches and blocks of color. And when I'm looking for a confetti, I will go through here. And if I'm going to use this color, and it's backwards, so I don't know what color it is, if I'm going to use 927 or whatever number, I flip it up. This is from my old card catalog days in the library when I was working on my BA and my master's. Some of you that are old enough remember the old card catalogs before they were put onto computers. And then when I'm ready to put it back, I will put it back. What I'll do is use one of these rings. They're easy, they come apart. I buy mine on AliExpress. I put the colors that I'm going to work on in a section on here, and then I don't have to dig through the box. But of course, every once in a while, you're going to be scrambling for a color. And I have one of my Hades set up like this. And I have even taller paper that comes up, cardstock, so that I can see, oh, here's 100 to 300, here's 400 to 500. And that really will help me as well. But even with my haze, I will put what I'm working on in this ring and I'm good to go. And when I'm ready to put it up, because this is going to be put away, I just put everything in here. I'm not going to try to force I'm not going to force the fabric in here to smash everything, but then that can be stored until I'm ready to work on it again. Like many of you, I'm using Stash Unload cross stitch only. And Kay Kern, she makes these fabulous bags, and she just posted some project bags with Harry Potter fabric. And she said, let me know if you want one. And I did. I put my name in. The person before me said, hey, I'll take everything. Give me all the Harry Potters. And I'm like, well, I'm going to ask. I said, I'd love a Harry Potter bag and a Notions bag. And she looked around and she was able to find more fabric to make me both of those, a large bag and then the Notions bag. She messaged me like 3 days ago and she showed me the three colors of the inside fabric and she let me choose my own. So I think those special touches really, as a shopper, I find those special touches really endearing. And I'd already purchased two bags from her, so I know her work is good. And if you're on Stash Unloading and she's has bags up, I do recommend that you get one. Um, I really like the um, sorry, I really like the ability to put a Harry Potter book covers in a Harry Potter bag. So that's what I'm going to do. All right. I am looking through my list. I've been binge watching, of course. I think many of you do. I love watching FlossTube, and so I do watch that. I've been, as I'm on FlossTube, I'm looking for new FlossTubers. Uh, I made 11, this being my 11th one. I only have 17 subscribers. So don't forget you can hit the button here and subscribe. Um, what has made me ponder is that I see people with two or three, um, they're on their second or third FlossTube video, and they already have 1,000 views. I'm like, what? I don't even have 20 views. What's going on? So um, I did think, even though I'm even though I'm creating these videos for myself, I did, or I have to wonder what's wrong, or how am I not getting my video out there? How am I not promoting myself? So I am still thinking about that. If you know, um, I really like the camaraderie. I like the friendships, and I thought I'd be able to develop those more at StitchCon, which I had paid to go to, and then we know that it's postponed till next year. So, I mean, if you have any ideas, I'd I'd love to hear them. I've been watching Misty Pursel, Luminous Fiber Arts. She has a new pattern out, and I'll try to put it, in one of these places up here. It's called Liberty Quaker or Nuts About America, which her boyfriend named it. And it's a patriotic sampler. but it also has incorporates Quaker. I like that. And I don't have anything patriotic yet, so that's at the top of my list to purchase. Um, Beyond watching Harry Potter, I rewatched Twilight, you know, but I also binge watched Haven, and that's on Netflix. There are 5 episodes. Apparently, if you ever watched Haven when it was on TV, it ended abruptly and viewers were upset. Well, I did a little bit of research. I didn't watch it when it was originally on. And Netflix has a season 5 part B where they actually got all the actors back and they finished the series for everyone. So that was nice. And then also on Netflix is a Netflix original series. It's 2 years old, and I'm surprised I missed it. I absolutely loved it, and it's The Haunting of Hill House. And there are 10 episodes, and I cried. I was so invested in this horror genre, and the characters were so well developed. And yes, I jumped when I was supposed to jump, but oh my gosh, if you haven't seen that, I really would recommend you going to see that. Not going, it's on Netflix. Why wouldn't you just watch it? All right. So I've been looking for the perfect Biscornu because I want to make one, but I haven't found one that I wanted to make. This is a freebie. If I'm going to assume her name is Julia Punti Antici, and it's a freebie on her website. I'm going to make this, and I'm going to link the website below, and you'll be able to stitch that as well if you're looking for a Biscornu. All right. Another pattern that I kitted up is something that makes me happy. I've shown it before, but it's be so awesome. People think you're a myth, and I love it. I would make this either for my goddaughter, well, not my goddaughter, but I would make it for Ashley. They don't watch, so it's not a big deal. Um, this is Cross Stitch Crazy, July 2019. But the artist also has it on her website. I've been told. I haven't looked it. I haven't looked for it on her website, but the designer's name is Emma Congdon, and you can look there if you don't have the magazine. Um, what I like, and I've never used it, so maybe you could give me some hints. It it calls for a toile. I've never used it. Is there, I like the sparkle, but is there something I have to pay attention to? It looks like it's multi-stranded, but I love how soft and it feels like clouds. I like that. So maybe leave me a comment if you have some advice on the best ways to use the étoile. I'd asked one time in a Facebook group what people would rename this miserable floss. Um, oh, I'm holding it too low. This is the metallic, the DMC metallic, and this is what I used earlier when I showed you the coffee cups. Maybe it's cold outside, and it's what tore through the Lugana fabric. So I don't know. I do have the conditioner to use with it. I just, I'm hoping that I don't destroy it. And I do realize now that I have to be more gentle with it. I belong to the Fabric of the Month Club with the Stitch Me. Um, I do order the fat quarter, and I go with a 25 count Ghana, and this is called creamsicle. It's, oh yeah, it's a very, that's about as close as you're gonna get. It's a very soft shade, a beautiful shade of orange. I don't know what I'm gonna use it for, but it's fabulous. And then, because I have a lot of haul, I'll go through some of my haul. I um I have the Point de Croix, the little girl singing, the little girl with presents, the sled in front of the house, and the it's stitched on the petite point. And so I went ahead and bought the petite point, and I will be using this. Um, I didn't know if I wanted the gray and white or the blue and white, but I did go with the blue and white, and I will use one thread over two squares on this. That's what I'm gonna attempt. I I don't I don't necessarily want to go one over one like I'm doing with the Quaker, but I mean I might. I also got this heroic. Let's see, the lighting is, you can see a little of the modeling. They're blue, a little bit of blue, little bit of purple. Um, and this is, like I said, heroic, and it's a 28 count. And then I also got 28 count jazz. Okay, jazz Lugana. You can see a few different colors in here. Um, I don't know what I'm going to use them for, but when have I ever needed a reason to purchase? I'm sure I'll find something to use them on later on. I did put in a order to Charting Creations, and I'm still waiting for it, even though I ordered on April 20th. I know that COVID has slowed everything down, even though people are coming back online. It's been 6 weeks, and I wanted Marshmallow World by Sugar Stitches, and I'm still waiting for that. And I purchased other patterns by Sugar Stitches. Um, but then I went to ABC Stitch Therapy, and they had some Sugar Stitch patterns as well. This so far, I think, is the first one I want to do. And then I have a gingerbread fabric, but this fabric is asking for the opalescent. So I did order the opalescent, and I'm still waiting on those. But ABC Stitch Therapy sent me the charts, and all of this started because here's you can tell I love these. I just love the color in them, and they seem happy. I don't have many Halloween, so these are all sugar stitches. Have you done any sugar stitch patterns? What do you like about them? This is one that I've wanted since I started a stash. I love the cherry and the red, and then like the dots everywhere. And then, of course, many websites have their clearance patterns, and this was in my chart for 1, 2, 3 stitch. And because it was at a clearance price, I went ahead and threw it in. And I've also wanted to do one of these stacked animals. And so I bought the pigs and the snort stack. So I have that to work on. I bought more. But don't worry, all my bills are paid. So if I want to spend money on charts, I wasn't able to spend it in other ways. I bought this wintertime and it's from Abby Rose Designs. And when I bought it, I knew I had to stitch it. Now, I don't know, but I'll get to it. I do have the fabric, but um, it is 40 count champagne linen. Can you see those holes? I can't. So my sweet spot for stitching is probably 18 through 28, but I'm also okay with 32. Um, so as I get more subscribers, right? As I get more subscribers, um, I will give this away to someone that wants to stitch with it. And then, if that wasn't enough, I think this speaks to a lot of us right now. Seeking Refuge by the Scarlet House. Um, there are not a lot of colors. Um, this one needs the cherry cobbler. Remember, I said I had a couple patterns that need it. This one calls for cherry cobbler as well. I mean, I, I mean, why wouldn't I want to stitch this? People talk about, oh, are you a product stitcher or a process stitcher? And I think that I'm equal parts of both. And what that means is I love shopping for patterns. I love kitting patterns up. I'm not good about matching patterns and fabric. I'm not good about that yet, but I can get better. And so I love that aspect, but I also love stitching. And so with the stitching, it calms me. It helps me find my center. It helps me decompress. And I really need that. I had to take some antibiotics, and the antibiotics had an adverse reaction to the antidepressant that I'm taking. And so I had to stop taking the antidepressant um, while I was on the um, antibiotics. And so um, I've seen so many of you stitch this, and the words just really mean a lot to me because I find solace, comfort, and my worries go away when I'm stitching. And if you're one of those people that haven't seen it, what it says is when the world seems to be out of control, I find a way to nurture my soul, seeking refuge with needle and thread, the angst and anxiety no longer I dread. That speaks to me, as I know it speaks to so many of you. And while I'm not starting it during my last week of quarantine, because I'm quarantined right now, I can leave the house probably on Thursday or Friday. I quarantined for 2 weeks because I have an autoimmune disease, and I have to go to the hospital every 7 weeks for a treatment, and they let anyone in there. And so I just really believe that um, I'm protecting my loved ones and other people from me passing on a disease to them. And the treatment that I get kills part of my white blood cells. So I'm also making sure I'm taking care of myself. All right, here are my last few patterns that I have. And on my next video, I will show you hopefully the rest of my haul, which includes a roll of frame. Here's a Santa Mill Hill kit. Love it. Here is the gingerbread people, ginger friends. Love it. I've wanted to stitch this for a while. It's Merry Christmas. Love this, right, for Santa. And last but not least, Autumn Harvest. This is probably American Pie. Yes, American Pie. The sticker is over the name. So between now and my next video, um, I am going to definitely work on my Quaker Sal linens and threads. If you're not doing it, it's free. I would encourage you to sign on to Linens and Threads, and I'll put it down below so you can look. And it is a Quaker sampler. I love it, as so many other people do. And remember that every FFO begins with a single stitch. Have a great month, and I'll see you next time.